Okay, I believe we are live. Let me just double check, everyone. Welcome to Weekend Wind Down with Business Coach Nancy. Cheers, everyone, and cheers to my guest. I am very, very excited about this conversation today. Cheers, and let me take a sip. So let me just check. Oh, yep, we're live. I see our faces on my other screen.
Yep.
So let me say hello to everyone. Say hello to us as you start coming on. I see Melissa's here. Hi, Melissa. And Virginia is here. Okay, so here's why I'm so excited to talk about this today. We are talking, Claire and I, and I'm going to have Claire introduce herself. We are going to be talking about, I can't speak, I haven't even started drinking yet. What it takes to grow and run a profitable business of any kind. Even though I'm a business coach to interior design professionals and Claire is a business coach to interior design professionals, really the mindset stuff that I often talk about in my group, the Interior Design Business Forum, because mindset is almost everything when it comes to overcoming obstacles. So Claire, introduce yourself, and I would love for you to tell the listeners your starting story. I'd love, even though some of you have heard mine and maybe some of you have heard Claire's, I think it's important for us to tell you where we started, and we'll try to do it quick. We'll try to take only 5 minutes because we thought this show could end up being 3 hours with the two of us because we're such talkers. But let's start with who you are, what your history is of starting a business, and bring it all the way up to today in 5 minutes, right?
Good luck. 5 minutes. Oh my God, that's a big task for me. Okay. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you, Nancy, for having me on your show. Cheers. Very excited to be here. Hey. Yay. So my background is initially, I went to school for corrections initially in 1998 is when I graduated. So working in corrections is working in jails, working with young offenders. So that's really where I started my journey in terms of college, right from school. And then shortly after, I had an opportunity to move to England. The jails wasn't really cutting it for me. I don't think I was quite hard enough to be working in the jails, but I did learn some very good experiences. And then had an opportunity to move to the UK, which I thought I would just go there for 6 months. My mom's family is out there, and I thought, oh, I'll go for a little while and maybe do some traveling and see my family. And then I met my husband, now husband, within a couple of months of being there. And so I stayed 6 years.
Wow.
And I got a job working at Ford Credit, so Ford Motor Company. And I was working initially in collections. So I traded corrections for collections. And then I was promoted shortly after to human resources. And that's really where it kind of started in terms of processes, which I'm really big on, and, relationships building, having conversations, hard conversations sometimes with employees, hiring, firing, that sort of thing. And then when I moved back from England, which I always knew we wanted to do, I said to my husband very early on, we will, if you're good with moving to Canada, then that's where I want to be eventually. And we moved back, and we have my son, Adley, who's now 15. But when we first moved, I was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years, which I absolutely loved because you never get that time back. And then my sister was doing a course at a local college for makeup, and she said, oh, they have an interior decorating course, and you're always redecorating, talking about decor and paint. And so I took the course, and then I started my business. And that's really...
So how many years have you been doing interior decorating?
Since 2011. So this will be my 8th year. My God, what year are we in? 8th year? Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. All right. So tell everybody like the true beginnings of starting your own interior decorating business.
Yeah. So I actually I always thought I needed to work for somebody first. I was like, I'm kind of nervous. And I don't really know what I'm doing because they teach you very limited stuff in school about running a business. And then I had a mentor for a short time, and she said, you could do this, you could do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I started in 2011. And really for me, Nancy, it was like head down, just marketing was my thing. I'd never marketed before, but I gravitated to it, loved trying things, loved seeing what worked and what didn't work. Not everything obviously works. And then yeah, just within 5 years from there, I started, or 4 years, I started my design group, Interior Design Business Strategies, for designers, and started coaching, and then the YouTube channel, 2 channels, because I'm crazy, so I have 2, one for color and design and one for coaching.
Oh my God.
And then as I was doing more and more video, which I'm a huge, advocate for video, I started getting, it helped in my own business, but it also then really helped with getting in front of brands, and then people wanted me to speak at events. It just helped me get noticed a lot more, the video, because it makes you an authority in your niche. And yeah, I love doing it. I love sharing. So before I knew it, I was already sharing in other groups about, like, this is how I organize my client folders, and this is how I do this. And then I was getting people calling me going, can I talk to you for an hour? I have some questions. So for me, it was head down. I wasn't really interested in attending necessarily events or being published in a magazine. I just wanted to get clients and do work and, get my portfolio built. And then it kind of turned into this, kind of morphed. Which I love. I love change.
I was going to say, yeah, we're going to talk about change, but did you start with any seed money? Like, did you say, I'm going to take $2,000, $10,000 and start my business?
No, which we'll talk about. I didn't. I literally was like, we did a room in my basement, which was for my final class in interior decorating. That was the project that I did. And that was my office. And I didn't really start with, the good thing is that we're not in a big house. We're not flashy people at all. We're in a little 3-bedroom bungalow, and we're smart with our money. So having been home for 4 years, I knew that I had some leeway to be like, okay, I can at least give this a go. And if it doesn't work, then I can get a job, because we weren't like desperate in terms, of having to pay a mortgage with my bills, with my salary as well, because I hadn't been making one.
Right.
So yeah, no, I didn't start with, but I highly recommend that people do now when they start their business.
I know.
We'll talk about that, and that's
All right, so I'm going to run down my history really fast, and it's so familiar to me when you said collector, because when I finished college, I went to Adelphi University, business management, finance concentration, worked all throughout college, and towards the end of college, I became a collector for the Dime Savings Bank of New York. I'm actually going out with those ladies tonight, but I'll explain. So when I graduated, I quickly became an assistant supervisor, and over the next 10 years, I raised to the level of first vice president, ran 3 departments of 50 people each, so 150 people, and I'm going out with 2 of the vice presidents who I worked with back then. But in that process, I started having kids too. One of them is on right now. Kaden was my first, and hi, Kaden. It was really tough because Kaden was in the daycare in the building. Didn't like it, did a lot of crying and upset on the way there and back. And then I got pregnant with my second. So I had this guilt over, working while my kid's in daycare. Right. But I was a career woman, and I just thought I could have a nanny and be the president of the bank someday, right? And you get pregnant the second time and you're like, maybe I shouldn't do this. So calculated, even though I made a great salary, calculated 2 kids in daycare, the clothes, the travel, the stress. And I went, I'm out of here. So I took a package. They were offering to other people. I'm like, can I have one, please? So I got paid to finish my second pregnancy, had my daughter, Lauren, and did the stay-at-home mom thing also for 2 years. And unlike Claire, I didn't love it. Like, I did feel like I didn't want to miss out on my kids' childhoods, but I didn't love not having the adult interaction. I would walk the streets with the stroller looking like, where are all the other executive women who left work? Because everyone's leaving work. Where are they? They're locked in their houses. So I went back to Hofstra University, become a personal fitness instructor, built a gym in my basement, worked out of New York Sports and Fitness in a town local here. So my husband would come home from work. I'd say, bye. So I watched my kids all day so I didn't miss out. Yes. But then I would go train people at the gym. And then during the day, I started training mommies in the basement. They would bring their kids and my kids would be there. And I did that for 4 years, I think, 4. 3.5 until I got pregnant with my third. So third came along. He was born with a heart issue. He had to have open heart surgery at 5 days old and was quarantined for 2 years. So there went my personal training. there went any business of any kind, because I had 2 older ones and a kid who was quarantined. We had to even have help in the house, so I could even pick the other 2 up from school, because he couldn't even come up to school when I needed to pick them up. So when he went out of quarantine after 2 years, he's healthy today. All my kids are healthy. 25, correct me if I'm wrong, Caden, 25, 23, and 20. So my youngest, who had open heart surgery, is healthy. He's in college. He's a music theater major, and all is well there. My mother, who was an artist, called me and said, I'm giving away all my artwork, just in casual mom-daughter conversation. I'm like, Kevin's in school now. Like, send it to me. So I started selling her artwork at home art parties. An interior designer came in one day and said that would be a perfect piece of artwork for my client's home. Can you bring it to the house? Can you help us frame it? Can you have it installed? I'm like, yes. I just said yes to everything. I knew nothing about framing or art or anything. I just knew how to sell. Yeah. So 17 years later, Expressive Living Art Framing and Accessories was born, and we placed over $3 or $4 million worth of art in people's homes over the 17 years that I ran it. And I became entrenched in the Interior Design Society local chapter. And then 4 years ago, I hung my shingle as a coach, because I realized that a lot of the designers were asking me business questions, marketing, sales, relationships with peers, with staff, with customers. And I thought, right, this is my sweet spot. So that's when I hung my shingle as a coach. I did start Expressive Living. You ready for this? Yeah. $300. I started Expressive Living with $300 from my basement. I was cutting mats myself.
Right.
Like, it was ridiculous. I look back now on the jobs I did, and I thought, I can't believe anybody paid me to do that. So
it's amazing. I love that. I did not know all of that history.
I know. I normally say that I usually give a little bit more background during certain keynote speeches. Yes. And yes, now I'm a certified body language trainer also, and a speaker. And I am finally where I'm meant to be as a coach. Like, I finally feel like my mother has always said to me, Nancy, shut up. You talk too much. And now I'm and I love my mother. She passed away 2 months ago, but I was a talker, and now I get to actually be heard and teach other people how to be profitable and run their businesses. So, so Claire and I want to kind of pick some of this apart and tell you guys, what did that take for her to go from being a collector to being now a speaker and a coach and a YouTube sensation? And like, it's like, it takes a lot. So we wanted to touch on, what do you think the biggest driver was in your character that made you be able to do all this?
Well, one thing is I don't like to lose. So
that's a good one.
I figure if I'm starting this, I have to follow through with it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Hi, Virginia. So that was one thing. One thing was just, I just had drive. I had determination. I don't give up unless, unless I don't believe in something or I realize this isn't what I thought. So for me, it was just keep going. And that's why I said, like, not every marketing tactic that I tried. I have a series actually on YouTube on my consulting coaching channel. I tried anything you can think of. I knocked on doors. I hooked up with realtors. I was in a woman's show with a booth. I went into town and met with local, tile suppliers, contractors, building those relationships. Whatever I thought might be an opportunity, I just thought I'll go for it. If it doesn't work, then I'll just try something else.
Yes.
So I think it was just the determination.
Yeah, determination, tenacity, grit, right?
All passion too, right? I loved interior design. I was like, oh, I totally want to do this. Like, so failure kind of like wasn't an option for me.
I love that, because art was not my passion.
Yeah.
At all. Working with my mother was kind of my passion. I was like, oh my God, this would be so cool. I'm like going to sell my mother's artwork, and then she's going to, in retirement, make some money. So I think that for me, that family component made me feel so good about what I was doing, as I worked 60 to 100 hours a week and made $60 in the beginning, like literally. Like nothing. From someone who would never go to home parties at all. I get invited to jewelry parties, makeup parties, Tupperware, whatever it was. I'm like, I am never going to one of those parties. And then next thing you know, I'm the one having the parties.
That's right. See,
I'm
that's why
surprised anybody came.
Right? You can never say never because you never know.
It's true. So Virginia's saying it like never give up, right? That's the key. If you have either passion for your business,
Yeah,
because of the business it is itself, like I am now with coaching, like that much better than I was when I was doing art framing and accessory consulting. Like I was
love it. Yeah,
I
you found
love
it.
it.
You found your thing.
Found my thing. You know what? The other one was it allowed me to be home with my kids during the day and still work because I started out with home art parties. I think the key also is understanding that I knew I wasn't going to make a lot of money at home art parties. I was waiting for something to hit. Like I knew I kept saying to the naysayers in my life, I know I'm onto something. I just don't know what it is.
Right.
And I'm raising my kids. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Wine and cheese. See, I'm still
Yeah. Some commonality still. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm talking to people and I'm enjoying myself, but yeah, I'm working a ton of hours for no money, but I know I'm going to hit on something. And that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure we talked about is if you feel like you're not quite in the perfect space or you're not feeling like you're hitting your ideal client, that combination of not giving up, not wanting to lose, and looking for opportunities in your travels is really important.
Yeah, because there are a lot of opportunities out there. I will say on that note, Nancy, is that I do think that when we start our own business, we don't realize how difficult it is. We don't realize how many things we have to do, what's involved. And I do know some people that have started a business and then maybe said, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to go work at a retail store for furniture or sell art or something. And I think there's no problem with that. I think if you realize, you know, I don't want people to give up, but at the same time, having your own business may not be for everybody. So when people say to me, oh, I feel like a failure, I've gone back to the retail store, I'm like, but do you love it? You're getting your benefits. You're not stressed. Right. And they're like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, well, then maybe that was the right move for you. You know what I mean?
I agree. There are times where you just have to say, I thought it was for me, but maybe it's not for me. And as long as it's not that you're giving up as much as it is you have tried something, like kudos for trying something you thought you were going to love.
That's right.
And
but I also think that, and on the other side of that coin, as you know, is that if you get the right advice, you invest in your business, you know, and you persevere, then maybe it is for a lot of people. So I think it's just looking at it both ways, but I just don't like people to think like, oh, I'm not quite getting this business. It's been 4 years. I just don't think it's for me. Then maybe it's not. But right now there's also a ton of resources of which you offer a lot. And I mean, just out there in general that was never there when I started. I mean, 2011, no one was really sharing. I had a local networking group, but you know, a lot of people weren't sharing. There wasn't podcasts. It wasn't really the YouTube channels with people sharing information. There was not the groups. You know, so we're in a very different place now which is the beautiful thing that I love about the internet and all of this collaboration and no secrets and let's just give. And is that, you know, you do have a lot of options available to you of how people can help you and how you can succeed in business, where this was a closed door years ago. This was not really a thing for people to do what we're doing.
It's true. I mean, even when I was still running Expressive Living and started coaching, I was 50. And I'm like, how am I going to learn this technology? Like, I had so much self-doubt, where it was kind of like when I started Expressive Living, it was like, well, I'm being a stay-at-home mom. And I kind of did do it as a hobby in the beginning. Like it kept me busy and some adult interaction. And I enjoyed that. But when I did the coaching, I thought, no, I'm going for this. I'm going for it and I'm not going to fail. I felt like what you said, there's no way I'm going to fail. And I hired a coach.
Yeah. I hired a coach too. Yeah. I hired a coach for my coaching business. I hired a coach.
Yes, I did too. I mean, listen, it speeds up the process. I mean, on average, it takes a business 3 years to be profitable.
Right.
And that's consistently marketing, right? Which a lot of people fall down on that.
That's right. Yeah, because there's so much to do. And then where do you market? Do you market locally? Do you market on social media? You know, there's so many different platforms now that you need to be on. It's like, you know, but yeah, we could go on another tangent.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the questions. So let's see.
Okay. Yes.
Stephanie said, do you think it was less overwhelming without all the podcast mentors, Facebook groups, et cetera, when you started versus now, Claire?
I mean, that's a good question, Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? I think really you just have to be good at focusing, and I know that can definitely be hard. Absolutely. But and then finding out like right now, like I can't listen to everything that's going on out there. I know that there's great things happening. I don't expect everyone to be watching my YouTube channels and content either, but you really have to figure out who do you gravitate towards, who do you think is, saying the message that you want to be, using in your business, and who do you who do you resonate with, and then follow that. I mean, because like you said, there's so many out there, so you really do have to try to pare it down and figure out what it is that you're going to listen to, because there's a lot of noise out there, so it can absolutely be overwhelming. And then at some point, as you know, Nancy, you just got to go for it. Like you took all this information, now don't take any more. You probably got enough. Like, taking some of the basics. Now apply it. Go. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I have been known when someone is coaching with me one-on-one, I'll say, just do me a favor. Excuse my dog. I'm sorry. Somebody's out there.
Okay, my dog might pick up in a minute and go, where's my dog? Where's my dog?
Start singing together. If I shut my door, then she'll start crying at my door. So I'm going to catch 22 here. I have been known to tell my one-on-one clients to please give me 3 to 6 months. You've chosen me as your coach. Right. Thank you. Please stop listening to everything else for a little while. It's all going to be there. It's all going to be there when we're done. And I promise you, you can catch up. But what ends up happening is like they're coaching with me and then they're like, I heard a podcast, or I heard of this, or I heard a live, or I read of this. And what about this idea? I'm like, okay, we haven't finished the first idea yet. Like we haven't fully implemented that.
Yeah.
And literally you can listen to my lives, Claire's lives, YouTube videos, read our blogs, just the two of us, and you'd be going back and forth of this idea, that idea, because we both do give fabulous advice and content. But it does get confusing once you're really trying to focus on getting things done. It's hard when you're listening to every single thing every single day. I mean, people are listening every single day, and they are getting overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've raised my hand up. Like there's time, like I sat with Stacy today. She's my assistant. She was here, and I literally brain dumped on her from like coming home from high. I said, listen, you're going to get verbal diarrhea today. I have to tell you all of my ideas, things that I'm thinking of. Because you go there, you see the panels. I'm learning. Like I don't know everything. I'm learning from different panels. Going, maybe I should try implementing that. And so we sat down today and we took, notes. And so, okay. And then there were a few that were like, hey, we're going to run with this and this. This can wait till next year. This is on the back burner. So again, some things may not need to be immediate. It's always looking back at what is your goal? What do you love? I'm always really big on, what do I love? So right now I feel like there's a hole missing, and there's, things, that's something I've wanted to do for a long time. And so I said to Stacy today, right, starting in December, where this is it, where I'm getting on this, because I've been wanting to do this for so long, so it's just, the other things can be there, but maybe they're just on the back burner right now. So figuring out the priorities too.
It's, listen, we're all entrepreneurs, and I swear the definition of entrepreneur is just idea generator.
Right. Oh my gosh. It never ends.
It never ends.
Never ends.
We all have multiple ideas on how we can market ourselves better, what we can offer our clients, what we can say to people. We should have this document, that document, better processes. And like, it's just constant. And, people say to me, like, when is it just going to be like easy? I said, if you're continuously growing, it never becomes completely easy, because you always have new challenges. Excuse me. Now my dog's crying at my feet, so I'm going to pick her up. Say hi, Millie.
Oh, hi.
Go about the face.
So cute.
So if you get to a point where you're happy with what you're making, and you're happy with your process, and you're just content, that's fabulous. More power to you. I've never hit that stride. I'm always like, oh, good. I can do this new idea, and I can do that. It's like,
I know. I'm the same. And the other thing to remember too, I think, is enjoying the journey. Like there is no finish line. So it's not like, I'm going to do this and then I'm done. Let me do I try to enjoy the struggles, the challenges, frustrations, you know, take the good with the bad. It's like with kids, it's like raising kids. Like it's not going to be smooth sailing. And you look back and you think, well, it was a journey, or there, you know, we hit a few bumps, but and the experiences and what you grow out of from those experiences, what you learn and you grow from those experiences. So, you know, you got to kind of have the challenging clients in order to know what it feels like to have a great client and learn from it and be able to talk about that, even if you're not a coach necessarily, but even with past clients, you know, I can say to clients now, well, you know, this is my letter of agreement, you know, we need to sign this at the end of the consultation, And if they were to say like, well, why, you know, then I can say, well, I had a situation once where this is what happened when I didn't follow a process and, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, so I know now that this is how it needs to go. And they'll be like, oh, so they love when you know, when you are able to tell a story and share an experience. Yes. I didn't see Wendy's comment there. It came up on the screen, but then I missed it.
Oh, which one? I put up Wendy. I'm trying to, if I missed your comments, guys, I'm sorry, because Be Live gives me like this very small space. And when I scroll, sometimes I miss one.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to. So yeah, Wendy's saying you have to choose a coach that you vibe with and go with that. Do what the coach tells you, right?
Right. Yeah. And especially when you invest, right? I mean, I will tell you, I invested nearly $12,000 in my coach by the time I was done with it. You think I wasn't going to listen to her? Like, I'm not paying. It's like a consult, guys, right? People are going to get their pen and paper. They're going to listen when you're charging them for that consult. If you're coming for free, they're not as invested when it's free. Like, people can watch all my videos, they can do whatever, but the minute they start to invest in a product or a coaching, then they should be like, okay, geez, I'm listening now because it's kind of hit my wallet, and I want to make sure I'm going to get most bang for my buck.
Right. There's a whole psychology behiand charging. That's why when I tell the interior designers, do not go out and do free consults, charge for your consults. I get a lot of pushback in areas that will none of my, you know, I hate this word, competition is charging. And I'm like, but if you do, they're going to say, oh, wow, if she could charge or he can charge for that, he must be really good. So now there's psychology around wanting the best.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Right.
Absolutely. So, and also don't think that you give away too much, say for like on your social media or in a blog post or like in a video, because then people are going to be like, oh my gosh, if they're giving this away for free, you know, online, imagine how amazing they're going to be when I'm hiring them to work with me. Because then it is one-on-one and you're looking at your clients, Nancy, and what their needs are. It's not like a more broad conversation. It's very honed in.
Yes. Well, it goes for almost any service-based industry. As a coach, as an interior designer, and I say this all the time, people are not hiring you for information. They're hiring you for implementation. At least your ideal client, which everyone's always looking for, is hiring you for implementation. If they wanted to piece together every single one of your lives or every one of your blogs or every one of your podcasts, newsletters, and put it all together, they could probably figure it out. But they, you know, that's going to take you
a long time.
And they want it done quickly, right? I will tell you, I invested $7,000 in my very first coach for coaching. And I was in the wrong program. Shit, I knew it like 3 months in. I'm like, oh, this is not good. Because I already was a businesswoman and I didn't really like what she was telling me to do, in the sense that I knew I could grow the business differently. And when I reached out and said, listen, this is an idea that I had, they're like, follow the program. Like, it was cookie cutter. It was 200 people in a group. But I decided stay in. And it was too much mindset for me, because I'm already like, I'm okay with the mindset. I needed the nuts and bolts of growing an online business, not the mindset, because I was okay with that.
Yeah.
I was there, but I decided, like, I paid for it. Like you said, I invested in this. Yeah. I'm going to pull out whatever knowledge I can, and also observe, since I was starting a coaching business, what I didn't like about the program, and make sure I never do those things.
Very good.
I made sure I benefited my money back. And I always have a coach on board. I have a coach right now. I always have a coach on board, because, you know, every psychologist needs a psychologist. Every personal trainer needs a personal trainer. So I think that's really important. I want to morph into what I think is really important is like relationship intelligence and relationship management, and how important it is to take the time. Part of the reason why I did the body language training is because it is so important in person and on video, building relationships. And that's a skill that a lot of people aren't paying enough attention to, their relationship skills. I think it's actually a new term, a relationship intelligence.
Right. Oh, I didn't know it was a term. Okay, you're teaching me.
Yeah, I looked it up the other day because someone mentioned it to me, and I'm like, oh, is this an actual thing? And it is.
Yeah.
So it's something I do a lot of in my coaching when I realize that people are having struggles connecting at networking events. Like, what are they really there for? To build relationships.
Right.
Some people, you'll look at them and go, oh, they do it naturally. Maybe it was their parents. Maybe it's in their DNA. I really don't know.
Right.
But it is something that can be taught. I mean, you're fabulous at building relationships. It's something I also do well. But I think that there are people who were very shy when they were younger, who are also now in positions as interior designers and other professions that they're really good at relationship building and maintaining.
Yes. I mean, I agree. And I think one of the key things is good communication, right? Having that communication up front. So if we like kind of take that back to like a contractor or something, I know sometimes when I see comments in my group or when I meet with designers, they say, how do you find a good contractor or good trades? And I think, well, you need to sit down first and, go and look at a few websites, figure out if they align with your aesthetic or, with your brand, your values that you have,
yes.
And then arrange to meet with them. And then, you need to have those conversations about how are we going to work together? How do you currently work with designers? Let's talk about who's paying who. Is the client paying you? How do you work? Or is the client going to pay me and then I'm going to pay you? Am I overseeing you? Because those are really key conversations. I mean, is a contractor going to hand a card to your client as soon as they meet? Like, because I don't mind my main GC guy doing that because I have a relationship with him. He's not going to run off with my clients because he knows that I'm too good. I treat him pretty good. Right. Yes. So he keeps getting work for me. So he doesn't want to upset me. So, I'm okay when he hands that card over and he's going to send them the proposal. He's going to CC me in it, but they're going to pay him separately. Or so however you are going to work that. And everyone's business model is obviously going to be different.
Yes.
But I think having that communicating up front, and then you don't have later on, when you're with a client or even with your vendors or you're at, let's just say you're maybe not with showrooms yet, and maybe you're with a retailer. I mean, you don't want that awkward situation where now your client's like, oh, do you get a discount here? And oh, are you sharing it with me or blah? Like you already know how your relationships are working with your trades and with your vendors. And then you have those conversations up front with your clients about how you work with your clients. And, so again, it's just about the communication. And, I'm big on my chapter in Luann's book was managing clients' expectations. And I think a lot of times it's easy to shy away from those conversations because we're a little nervous and, oh, hopefully that won't come up later. But it does come up later and it's more messy and sticky later on. So just get the talk about the money out of the way. How do you deal with your invoicing? When should they, expect to be getting an invoice from you? And how do you pay? How are they going to pay you? All those things, right?
Yeah, it's all about, I love the questions you're bringing up because you have to ask the hard questions, guys. You have to ask the hard questions. When you don't know an answer, you need to ask. And it's, often, well, what do I say to my contractor when I am like, exactly what you just said to me?
Yeah.
It's really that simple half the time, right? Exactly what you're saying to me. Like, how do I ask him if he can put something in there for me?
Right. Well, you have.
Would you be able to put something in there for me?
That's right.
But I know it causes people anxiety, but like write them down, practice it in your head a little bit, look them in the eye or her in the eye and just ask, right?
That's right.
To build your businesses. And this is why Claire and I wanted to talk about like what it takes to build your business to a profitable, bigger and profitable, more profitable if that's what you want. If that's not what you want, that's fine too. But if you want that, we're talking about things that mattered when we were building our businesses. Like I started out coaching doing these, it's called the summit model where you interview 21 other coaches who have a similar
Okay. I was
Yeah.
on something like that. And then do you like that's a live interview or something, or it goes out? No?
Well, so I was interviewing them,
Right.
and they have to mail an email to their list. I
That's right.
mail an email to my list, which was 0 when I started out.
Right.
I had not identified that I was going to focus on the interior design industry, because now I'm known for niches rich and broad is broke, but I was as broad as can be. Like, I can talk to everybody. But I had to build relationship. I had to send emails, pick up the phone, and like, hey, I'm doing this interview series and I'd love to interview you because you're really good at this. And I was terrified.
Yeah.
These are big people. Like, I'm nobody. Like, that's the way I felt. I felt like I was getting smaller and smaller. And I would just like take my deep breaths, dial and smile, and just.
That's right. Dial and smile. I like that. Yeah.
Get it done. Get it
like
done.
Like the imposter, right? You feel like an imposter, like, oh gosh, I just started, or.
Who doesn't feel like an imposter at some point?
Yeah.
Something you're doing.
Absolutely. Because everyone's different, in a different spot in their business. Everyone's got different goals. Everyone's got different family situations. So sometimes you see someone doing something and you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be doing that. But then you're like, well, hang on, my kids are 2 and 4. I can't be doing what they're doing, and their kids are in university or whatever. That whole imposter, like everyone's in different places. So it's hard not to compare, but that's when you got to just put the blinders on and focus.
Well, and you bring up a good point. Something I talk about, like sometimes you go faster and sometimes you go slower. And guys, if you have young kids, sometimes you go slower, and it's okay. Because like Claire said, you're going to miss out on those years. I didn't grow my business as 17 years expressive living into being hugely profitable until the kids were all in school and they were all doing okay. And like, there were times where I went slower when there was an issue that came up or somebody got sick or needed my attention. And that's okay.
That's okay. That's right.
Right? Like,
yes.
Everyone's so hard on themselves all the time. Like,
I know. And that's the thing about Stephanie was asking earlier about the internet. I mean, that's probably the biggest downside, is that it's so easy to compare to, to so many other people, but you just have to figure out what it is that you want, stick with it, and just put your head down.
Okay. So my son wants us to talk about how to conquer imposter syndrome. So you want to tackle that first? Or you want me to tackle it first?
I mean, I think, well, go ahead.
I mean, for me, when I get imposter syndrome, which is probably more often than people think, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I literally, I walk through the fear. I try to put it in a compartment where I put it in a compartment in my brain and I ignore it.
Right.
And I just walk through the fear. Although I will tell you, Kaden, you helped me years ago when I did my first webinar to selling something. I did the whole first webinar and I didn't sell anything. And I was like, oh my God, it was so bad. Like, it was so, and he's the one who said to me, like, and I don't want to curse, but you'll get my gist. Like, he said to me, I was running another one that same day, I think, or the next day. He said, literally put it in your brain that you don't give a flying hoot.
Yeah.
Anyone listening or anyone watching. Yeah. Literally plan on it being a disaster. And like, right. Just deliver it without the stiffness and trying to read all the words and trying to get it right. And that was imposter syndrome. Like, I was feeling like I was doing a webinar and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I don't think anyone's going to buy anything. And what am I going to do? I'm going to be so embarrassed. I'm like making believe I'm a coach. When I stopped caring, that's when everything started to convert.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that you said that, because anyone who knows me knows that I love Gary Vee. I'm a big Gary Vee, and Gary Vee is all about stop worrying about other people's opinions. Don't worry about how many likes you have. Do what you love, and just don't worry about everybody else. So, I sometimes, so you ask me what I do, sometimes I will go to Gary Vee and I will go on his Instagram and I will just watch 5-6 videos. And then I'm like, all right, Gary, you got me here again, right? Here we go, because, when you start worrying about what everyone else thinks, you're never going to please everybody.
Right.
And actually, we just if I could segue into this, actually, because I posted it in I have a video for Profits Group, which Wendy is in. So this morning I woke up this morning and I had 2 comments on 2 of my YouTube videos for color and design. And one of them was someone telling me that they're a hairstylist and that my hair's too dark and that I need to cut it a certain way and da 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 da. They were being very nice about it. And then the same person, and then the same person commented on another video saying you're too close to the camera. And I was like, oh my God.
Let me push back.
It's just like, okay. And, of course, the other thing is this is a person with an avatar that is nobody. It's a little, head, so it's very easy to sit at the computer and cut everyone else up. But so I just wrote back and I was actually at Wendy's when I was filming this video. And I was like, well, I was on a different location. I didn't have all my equipment with me. Done is better than perfect. I hope you enjoyed the content. And I was kind of like, see ya.
Yeah. Here's the other thing.
Really? You watch my videos and I give you free content and all you can do is tell me I need better hair and I'm too close to the camera?
I'm going to say something that I didn't think I was going to say online that came up the other day with one of my clients. I'm sorry, I'm going through them really fast because I'm there scrolling and I don't want to miss anybody. So I had a call with a client, a one-on-one client the other day, and we were talking about kind of the fear of being visible, like being visible and just saying, yes, I am an interior designer and like getting out. And I said, I do a lot of mindset with people when they need it. And we kind of dug into that, why that's a difficult situation for them. And it was being fear of judgment.
Yeah.
And this thing popped in my head. I'm going to use it in the future so no one steal it. But I'm telling you this sentence, I just was listening and I go, do you realize often judgmental people are quitters?
Are quitters? Yeah. I can believe that.
I ran to my writing and I'm like, I ran and I wrote it down because it's not always. I'm not going to say always, but often. Judgmental people are quitters on their own dreams.
That's right. Yeah, I totally believe that. Yep. Or they don't put themselves out there in the first place. So when someone else does, it's easier to knock them down. Well, not easier, but I guess in their minds, why not knock them down a peg? And that makes me feel better. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And they may not be doing it on purpose. Like it's subconscious where they're judging, like, is that really ever going to work? Or you're putting in so much effort and you're never going to make anything. Right. Like, I'm not sure you're in the right field, or, why are you making your Facebook page look like that? Like, it's embarrassing. Yeah, like, or you really send out that many emails or making that many calls, or you shouldn't follow up so quickly. Like anything that's putting doubt in your mind.
Yeah.
When you are surrounded by people who are putting doubt in your mind, often if you look at their life, whether they have generated a ton of ideas and actually never followed through with any of them.
Right. Yes.
Right. So it's a little bit of a generalization, but I feel like that was such a great thing to say. And she right away sat back and she said, oh my God, like all the people that are in my mind are totally doing that. They're idea generators, but they don't
go after it because of fear of failing.
Whatever it is, fear of failing, excuses. Yeah, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't, fear of failure, fear of judgment. I mean, there's stuff. The fear list is forever, right? Right. Some people actually have the fear of success because it brings them attention.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going backwards on the comments because I love this one. Preach.
Oh, hi, Cece.
Hi, Cece. So I'm going backwards, Cece. Sorry. All right. Let me see if I can scroll back because I know we had a question here too. Did I put up Melissa's? Claire, I need to hear that right here, right now.
What was that?
I know. I think it was when we were talking about your hair and you were talking. Well, listen, Gary V, to talk about, I follow Mel Robbins. She's a little different than Gary V. I love her. And I think one of the things that you said when you have imposter syndrome, go to your go-tos. Vanessa Van Edwards, Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, I still follow him, Mel Robbins. Sometimes I do watch Gary V videos. Pump yourself fluid of positivity. Right. So if you're listening to informational podcasts, sometimes when you're having a struggle with imposter syndrome or just, getting out of bed and I don't want to do what I don't want to do. Like,
Yeah,
put on your favorite motivational speakers, and
that's right. That's right. They can get you out of bed. They can get you going, and just you're like, okay, I'm good again. I'm good again. I can do this.
Right.
It's easy. It's easy to get knocked down. You can easily get knocked down.
Right. Oh, I love this one. It's your hairdresser one. Maybe she was trying to knit herself hair for YouTubers. Oh my God, I love that, Stephanie.
I was wondering for a minute if that person had linked back to like, oh, go follow me on hairspecialist.com. But there wasn't any of that. I thought maybe she was going to plug herself in there somehow. But
that is literally so rude. That is so rude. And I'm so glad you're not letting that get to you, because that's obnoxious.
And sometimes people do, they post on things. Most people are very nice, but sometimes someone will post something and, I just think, really, like, you are spending time to watch my video and then cut me up, and like, that's your problem. Like, if you can't just keep scrolling if you don't like something, or you're going to take the time to be negative. I mean, if I see something and I'm not going to go like, I think that's a dumb idea. Like, unless I have something I can really back it up with and say, well, this might be a better option for you. I'd say it in a certain way, but if someone's doing their thing, I'm not going to. So I just say, please, like, don't let these people get you down, because they're trolls. Like I said, I can't see who this person is. They don't have a proper name. They don't have a little avatar, like a face. There's nothing. So, and if you let that sort of thing stop you, and this is what I was saying in my video for Profits Group, like, don't let it stop you, because, it's not worth those people aren't worth it. And there's going to be, 1,000 other people or 10,000 who are going to be like, oh, this is good content. Oh, this has been helpful. You're only going to get the minority who are going to do stuff like that. And it's easy to focus on that sometimes, right? It's always easier for us to hear the negative and go, oh, terrible. And someone, I always think back to, like, I've gotten like 100 reviews on my house account, got 100 reviews. And there's like 3 or 4 stars. And I still know who they are. I'm like, it's like, oh, but I'm like, but I have 95 glowing ones. Why am I focusing on these 4 that were like 4-star and not 5? Or,
you know what? I blame our parents, because I call it report card syndrome. You get 4 A's and 1 C or D, and your parents go, why'd you get the 1 C?
That's right.
Like, how about, and I tried to do this with my kids. I don't know how successful I was. If Gaben's still here, maybe he can weigh in. But I used to say, when I judge your whole report card by the comments.
Right.
Which is the effort, right? Where the teachers, I don't know what they do today, but they used to just discuss the effort. And when I see if your effort has been fabulous and 100% and all your homeworks are in, and a C is what you get, then that is possibly your ability in that subject. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
That's so funny you said that, because I remember I had a test once. I don't know if it was in college, must have been, because I was living with my mom and my parents divorced. And I remember I got 100% on the test, and she said, wow, why didn't you get the bonus to get 105?
Uh-oh, Claire's gone. What happened? Hold on, guys. That was the weirdest thing.
That was so weird.
That was so weird. I literally didn't touch anything.
Oh, dear. But yeah, so I got perfect, but you still wondered why I didn't get the bonus question. Did I not do it right?
That's why I blame my parents. My parents they're like, let me see your report card.
Yeah. I know. You're
like this, shaking. Like,
here's my I can see my C.
I was a solid C student.
Yeah.
Well, once I hit high school and had a boyfriend, I was a solid C student.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I did a little better. But, let me see what comments I'm up to. Okay. Virginia had asked a question a ways back. What about saying interior designer versus interior decorator, since my BA is in education, not in design?
Okay.
Hot topic.
Yeah. So for me, I'm an interior decorator by trade, and I'll tell you now, most people don't know the difference. Most homeowners do not know the difference between a designer and a decorator. You cannot say you're a designer, though. You can't put that on your website if you're not a designer. We have similar to what you, like an ASID, so they will come after you if you say that. But I mean, even though I went to school for decorating, I started to do like 3D designs, and then people were asking me to, oh, can you, show me what this would look like to take down this wall in this kitchen in the living room, and I was just like, oh my gosh, can I do this? And that's when I actually started working with, I don't think you get him over there, but he's an HGTV figure called Brian Baumler. He's really big on HGTV here.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I started working for his company. Well, they subcontracted me out to do 3D designs. And that was because a client that I had before that was his cousin, but also his marketing manager. And they loved the job that I did for them, that they were like, okay, we need to bring you into the Baumler office. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going into the office and I'm meeting with them. And, and this was like, I was only in my business like about a year and a half. And then this is, that's where part of it took off. But, I really couldn't believe what they needed me, like that they needed me to do with these designs, and then they were okay going ahead to implementing it. Like, I wasn't saying, I had to rely on them though, so that was a big thing. So I don't know if I just want to explain this a little, because this is again coming back to relationships, Nancy, and with your team. I mean, so I don't say to clients, oh, I'm not a designer, so I can't say that. I will say, hey, so we're going next week. I saw a client before I went to High Point, and then we're going back for the measure next week, and I will bring my contractor and I'll say, listen, when I read through my outline of services, I talk about the we. I say it's my firm, but I am not oblivious to the fact that I need a team to help me with what I do and to support me. And so we will go back and we will do the measure. My assistant will come, we'll measure, but my contractor will be there and we'll do a walkthrough. And I will say to him, we're thinking about taking down this wall and we want to, move this down. Well, we need an LVL beam. Can you tell me, is this structurally okay? So again, I rely on him. I mean, at no point does my clients ever look at me. Do they ever look at me and go, so you're not a designer? Like I am doing design. And, and what I also think is really good is that, clients actually like when you don't know everything. Like I'll say, you know what, I'm not too sure, but I need to talk to my contractor about that. He's great at this. And so we're going to see him next week, and then he can chime in on that and let you know for sure. And they're like, oh, okay, that's great. So the interior design versus decorator, I think honestly, most people that get their knickers in a twist about this is designers who know that decorators call themselves designers. So, but for me, I'm just like, call yourself whatever you want. As long as you're not hurting anybody, you're doing a good job, you're running your business as you should, you're being profitable, and you're not telling people things they can do and they can't do it. I don't really worry about the whole, and I did at first decorate, but I mean, there's a few things, interior design and designer are actually searched more on the internet than interior decorator. So if you want to load up your website with interior designer, there's not as many people searching interior decorator or I like to call myself an interior design professional. So
you get the word design in there.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the United States, it's basically it's different in each state, right? So some states you can call yourself a designer even if you don't have a design degree, and in other states you can't. So
Google. Yeah. So you have to be careful. That's right. But I mean, so what Virginia's saying is she has a BA in education and not in design. So you look at all the people that are on HGTV or that are doing different other TV shows or doing it, and we were actually on a panel at High Point, and there was 5 people. It was the last day, and the moderator had asked who here actually has a degree in design or decorating, and none of them did, but they're all running successful businesses. So again, that comes back to the people person, relationships.
Yes. I always say I had a business degree in finance concentration. I was an art consultant, right? When I hired my first employee, she had a degree in art history. Right. So sometimes it's the people on your team, whether they're subcontractors or whether they're on your staff, that fill in the gaps where you can feel more confident.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And even having gone to school if it was, I know it's gone down now, but for business or education, you still learned so much from that experience. It's like being in corrections. I mean, I learned very, interesting, I had interesting experiences, which helped me in the next job. And then the HR helped me in the next job and in my interior design, you know what I mean? So I think it's just semantics, and I don't think it's, as long as you don't get yourself in trouble, like Nancy, like you said, like putting it on your website, like just depending. But other than that, no one cares but you. No one really worries about that except designers and decorators.
Right. Everyone overthinks about things. Just make sure it's legal.
That's right.
Whatever you want, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of the thing. All right. So do you believe we have 5 minutes left?
I know. I just looked at that. I was like, are you kidding me?
I can't even believe it. I want to look down the comments. And again, somebody asked for you to put the name of that book in the comments when you're done. So, so if you could go do that. I know I saw that fly by. Yeah. Okay, let me try to catch up and make sure we're answering at least questions and things. So I'm gonna go fast and post these. So we had a new person come on. Hi, Mimi.
Oh, hi, Mimi.
Virginia said, good points. Jen loves Mel Robbins also. One of my favorites. Mimi also said Marie Forleo. Yes, I actually like Marie Forleo.
Yes. I used to follow her a lot more. Yeah, she's good.
Yes, she is good. Vanessa is great too. I think she's talking about Vanessa Van Edwards, who I mentioned there. She's the one who certified me as a body language trainer. I took her body language certification course. She has a book called Captivate. That's captivating. Very interesting stuff. Okay, how do I go up here without scrolling too fast? I did it again.
I'm going to take a picture of this so I can share it on Instagram, Nancy. Because I can share this link after, can't I?
Oh, yeah, tag me and then I'll share too, because I keep forgetting that stuff. My Instagram people keep telling me. My mouth is open probably, right?
Yeah. Let's smile. Let's do a smile, okay? I'm going to take a second. Okay, that's good.
Okay, so Melissa's saying, nope, don't care what anyone else is doing. Do your thing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Claire, you're great. I hope my positive trumps a negative. That's
nice.
Thanks, Melissa. Okay, we got it. Regina's on. Hi, Regina. Hello, lovies. Cece, I think I did these two already. Her and her amen. I love that.
Yes.
Do the same people get mad when a cook calls themselves a chef?
Oh, I bet they do. I bet the chefs do. Especially the sous chef. The sous chef might get very upset.
That's a really good point. And Wendy's saying it's a word. Just do good work. Absolutely. Your reputation will precede you.
That's right.
Cece saying, yes, Texas is one of them. Probably a state that requires you to have, decorator versus designer. Designers must have credentials. And let's see, Mary Fran. Yes, after 38 years in the business, I have gotten over the title thing. Call me whatever you want. Just call me.
Yeah, just call me and pay me.
Oh, my God. I love that, Mary Fran. Okay, let's see now. Virginia said, thank you. I'm not sure what CC said. This is when I can't keep up with the comments, guys.
I know.
Oh, Rachel was here. I hope she's still here. Wait, what happened?
Yep. Hi, Rachel.
Rachel, cheers.
Well, I'm out.
Let's get that last drip out of there. Okay. And Stephanie had to run. Anyway, I think this was a topic I was really wanting to do because starting, growing, making it profitable, any business is not easy. And I wanted you guys to kind of hear the real behind the scenes of how Claire and I started and how it takes perseverance and it takes grit and not wanting to lose and not we didn't talk about like letting go of perfectionism and changing gears, right? We talked about a lot today.
Yeah. We talked about it a bit before we hopped on, and changing gears. I think that's huge too. We could maybe even, well, it's your show, maybe even end on that. But I think moving with the times and embracing I'm a big proponent of embrace change, be purposeful in all that you do. But there's changes coming, changes happening everywhere, and I love change personally. And then it makes me like, oh, okay, what do I need to do now to kind of conquer this and crack this? I don't know. I kind of like it.
Yeah. It's like don't get stopped by the obstacle. Figure out how you can go around it, above it, below it. I don't care. Or smash right through it, right? When you have an obstacle, just figure out what do I need to do to move this obstacle off of my path. And that's the way I look at almost everything. And whether it's hiring a coach like Claire or me, whether it's learning from a YouTube video, whether it's reading a blog, hiring whoever you need to when the time is right. Listen, I always say it's time or money, right? You're either spending time learning, and that's okay. You can do that, and I love that. Or if you want to speed yourself up, sometimes it takes money. It's the same for all of us. We're all no different.
And for design clients too, right? I mean, we want our clients to invest in us. They're going to get to the finish line way quicker if they hire us than if they just try to fly by their pants watching different videos and reading books. We get them there faster. So it's the same mindset.
Yes, they could train themselves on how to figure out how to do their homes, but they don't want to. That's the point.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the point. So, all right. Well, Claire, tell everyone about your group and where to find your YouTube videos and the other stuff so that thank you.
If
they don't already know you, which I think they do.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I have Interior Design Business Strategies is my private Facebook group for designers. That is IDBS, where there is no BS. So if you search Interior Design Business Strategies in Facebook, you find it. We ask you 3 questions. My husband is the gatekeeper. He will not let you in if you don't answer those 3 questions. For YouTube, I'm on Claire Jefford. That's my coaching channel. And I have Claire Jefford Consulting, which is my color and design. And then really just search Claire Jefford in Instagram, Facebook. You'll find me. I'm kind of annoying everywhere.
I know. I Googled myself one day and I went, yeah. Oh, I did find something that wasn't supposed to be there too, by the way, which is why it's important to Google yourself once in a while.
That's right.
But thank you everyone for watching Weekend One Down with Business Coach Nancy. You can find me also. Just Google me. Same Instagram, Facebook, and the Interior Design Business Forum is my group. Have a great weekend. And I will not be here next week because I will be in Portland, Oregon as a speaker at the IDS Portland Chapter Elevate event. So I'm excited for that. So for pictures of that. And I'll see you guys all in 2 weeks. Okay.
Thanks for all that you do, by the way. You're amazing.
Thank you. You too. I'm so glad we did this together finally. Right? Right. We've talked about it forever. So, all right. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you all in 2 weeks or in my group. Bye.
Bye.